The Philadelphia Phillies have officially punched their ticket to the playoffs and secured the NL East title, bringing plenty of celebration in the process. And while this is only the start of their postseason goals, me and Luke are going to break down the outlook for the team, as well as highlight a little bit of the process that it took to get to this point. We dropped our previous video kind of reacting to the celebration in the locker room and celebrating with them in the video as well, having a chance, all the goals still in front of them and properly, I guess, acknowledging a successful season to this point. We do got to get down to the nitty gritty and talk some baseball, so that's exactly what we're going to do in this video here. Now, before we dive fully into it, do want to remind you guys to make sure you are smashing that subscribe button, that at this point of time, just 16% of you guys tuning into the channel have subscribed yet. We got to get those numbers growing. Let's get over 1,000 for this Phillies Digest family before Red October begins, and now let's get into some baseball. So, Luke, to throw you the question right off the bat here, what's your biggest takeaway for this team heading in, and what's your playoff outlook? How positive are you on kind of a scale of 1 to 10? How you feeling?
Yeah, right now I'd probably say around an 8.
Okay.
I feel very confident.
Not a 10.
No, not a 10. I don't think anybody will ever be a 10. But I feel really good. And honestly, I think I would lean more towards 9 than 7. I think right now I think they're in a really good spot. That they have a really good starting rotation, they have a really good bullpen, and they have a really good lineup. That is what makes up a baseball team. They have a really good version of all three of those things right now. I feel the best about the pitching right now. I think you have, obviously at the top, you have two really good starters in Zack Wheeler and Aaron Nola. And then you have a guy like Christopher Sanchez, who has really emerged this year into a really good number 3 starter. And then you have also Ranger Suarez, who, although he hasn't looked maybe like normal Ranger the last, I would say, month, I still trust that man in October. I just, something about the last 2 years, his best baseball has been thrown in October. So it's hard for me not to trust the bounce back there. And then as far as the bullpen, I mean, the Phillies have 6 really good arms in their bullpen. This bullpen's the deepest they've been. Honestly, this is one of the best bullpens the Phillies have ever had, probably. Yeah. Strictly on, if you're looking at ERA, if you're looking at really just like quality innings from these guys. I mean, you can start at the Jeff Hoffman at the top. Just an unbelievable arm this year for the Phillies. That's going to make a lot of money in free agency, hopefully from the Phillies. And then obviously guys like Matt Strahm, Estevez, Kerkering, Alvarado, Jose Ruiz, who's really sort of jumped up in the rankings. They have a really good overall pitching staff. And I think once you get to October, if you want to win, you have to pitch. And I feel really confident in these guys. And that's not taking anything away from this lineup, because if you start at the top of the lineup,
pretty good.
Yeah, I would say having Kyle Schwarber be the first batter in a game is pretty damn good. Just had an unbelievable year so far. He's now up to 38 homers and 102 RBIs. It's his 3 seasons with the Phillies have been his 3 highest RBI totals of his career. Just honestly has turned into a different player since he's been in Philadelphia. He's now hitting for average. He's up to like 256 now, I think, something like that.
Leadoff hitter.
So yeah, I mean, he's just your typical everyday leadoff hitter, like everyone said all along. But no, and then I mean the guys after that, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Trey, JT, like they just have so many guys. Alec Boehm, they have such a deep lineup, and I think they really have a deep bench. I think this is the first time in a while that they've had some guys that you can maybe actually trust off of the bench to maybe get a hit. So that's really big in October. So I really do think the Phillies are in a really good and safe spot right now.
Yeah, and this is huge for this team, that we do know that the last time that they did accomplish this feat of winning the NL East in 2011, Luke being 9 at the time, myself being 11, we know the heroes of yesterday that did highlight the team, the Ryan Howards, the Jimmy Rollins, the Chase Utleys. You can go down the list of that team, but I kind of wanted to phrase it with this specific Phillies team. We've seen them the past couple seasons have to scrap their way out of the wild card. That we do know that the full seeding has not yet been established at the point of us recording this. The Dodgers are still playing. The Phillies in their hangover game did come up short. Luke, kind of break down what that race is for those final seeds, the 1 versus 2 seed, and kind of what this team is looking at.
Yeah, so after tonight's loss, the Dodgers hold a game on us right now for the 1 seed. They do play San Diego tonight, who has won 40 out of their last 56.
Wow.
They were 50 and 50 at one point this season, and they are now 90 and 66 around that mark. So just an unbelievable run that they've went on. They are getting hot. I think at the right time. Hopefully, it's not a little too early for them. I mean, ideally for the Phillies, it will be. But yeah, so right now we do hold the 2 seed. We did lose tonight. Milwaukee won. So that lead shrunk a little bit, but the Phillies do still own the tiebreaker there. So I'm not really worried about that. The Phillies need to win, I believe, one game and then one Brewers loss to lock that up. So basically, the Phillies have to lose out and the Brewers have to win out for us not to have home field.
Okay.
At least that 1 or 2 seed first round bye, at least. So then you have to hope LA loses a few games. But at the same time, there's been a lot of people that are saying they actually prefer uh, the the way for the 2 seed rather than the 1 seed. And I get and I don't really agree with that because if you would get to an NLCS against the Dodgers, I want as many games at Citizens Bank Park as possible. But there are some people that would prefer the teams that you would play as the 2 seed. And so I think it can kind of go either way there. I mean, I would definitely prefer the one just because of that overall home field advantage. And if you finish with the best record in baseball and you get to the World Series, you then have home field in the World Series.
Yeah.
So that would also be massive for a team that is unbelievable at home. They have the highest home winning percentage this year in baseball. I saw a stat. They did lose tonight, obviously, but they are, I believe, 30-8 this season at night wearing the pinstripes,
Wow. Look
which
at
is pretty wild. They're just dominant at nighttime home games this year. So most of that happens in the playoffs. So if that trend continues, we should be in some pretty good shape.
Yeah, absolutely there. And while I hear you on kind of the argument from a matchup standpoint, my sports brain here, I think that's bad juju. That whenever you're starting to handpick matchups or trying to skate through, I've seen the Sixers lose to the Atlanta Hawks in the second round, and that was the cake matchup there. Bad things happen when you try and take control of destiny for this Phillies team specifically, and really for any athletic team. Go out there and beat whoever's in front of you. And I think they should be chasing this 1 seed. Now, the one pushback that I have seen and that we've seen in firsthand from, the teams that the Phillies have eliminated in past years is this concern of, momentum slowing down with the bye. Do you have any concern with that, Luke? Do you think that is a nothing story overstated, or what's your feelings?
I honestly think it more depends on the team you're going to face.
Okay.
I think it depends honestly how handedly they win that first series. If a team, say like the Padres, would go through the wild card round and just roll in a 3 game series and then have to come in here, I mean, I wouldn't be concerned. I don't love the bye. I think it's funny that the best teams get rewarded with more days off and then have a chance to get a hot team. But at the same time, if you're as good as you think you are,
Yeah.
a few days off shouldn't matter. It should really only help you. So I'm split there. I don't really mind the bye. I'm not going to be rooting to get the 3 seed just to avoid the bye. But I do think it has helped teams in the past, right? Like Arizona last year, like us, really the last 2 years.
That's fire. Yeah.
We got hot, right? Obviously, Phillies played the Marlins, the Bryson Stott grand slam right into the NLDS. That's some pretty nice momentum heading into a series against your division rival. So I really think it depends on who the team that has the bye is playing.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective there. As a whole, I think once again you beat who's in front of you, and I think with this Phillies team in general, they know who they are, and we know who they are more than I think a
Yeah.
lot of teams in this
And
mix.
if you're good enough,
Yeah,
like I don't really think any of that stuff matters.
yeah,
Like if you're the best team in baseball, your matchup doesn't matter, your bye doesn't matter. And I mean, the flip side of that, a lot of times the best team in baseball doesn't win the World Series. It doesn't happen a ton. But I would rather be the best team in baseball heading into the playoffs with a bye than have to sneak through the wild card round and just run more and more games out there.
Yeah, absolutely there. So we're going to be here every step of the way, seeing how this path exactly carves itself out, what the seeding is for this Phillies team, and what the outlook is once we do know what those matchups look like. We want each and every one of you a part of that. So make sure you're hitting the subscribe button to join this Phillies Digest family. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers and want to hit that number before the playoffs kick off. So to help support us here, drop a like on this video, your comments below. And we want to hear from you what you want to hear from us next. So drop those thoughts in the comments below. And me and Luke will be talking with you next time. Peace.